Alright, hello. Today's video journal day 68. And so I didn't post one last night because I was working on editing my repo video. I finally finished making it, and I posted it on another channel because there's some weird like phone number thing and I couldn't make a thumbnail and it was too long, and it worked on another channel, so I did that instead. And it's titled something like I need to practice editing, so I played Repo with my cousin. That's what it's titled. I thought it was pretty fun to make. I looked at it, currently doesn't have any views, but I don't really care. I made it for myself to practice editing, so that's totally fine. I wasn't really expecting too much, honestly, and that's totally fine. So tomorrow I'm going to be having another work night at video production class because we gotta finish the KFC diss track. Should be done tomorrow. Yeah, we should be finishing it up tomorrow, so it'd be cool to finally see that project finished. Last night I wrote in my journal, I was trying to figure out what makes me love a Pokemon, because I did this thing called a favorite Pokemon picker, and I knew it was going to be my favorite anyway. I kind of figured that out a little bit before that, but I found out that like Buizel was my favorite after doing a little bit of like trying to understand what my favorite is. And so I asked myself, like, what makes me love a Pokemon? Because obviously there's some criteria. I don't love them all equally. I have my favorites, so it's like obviously there's some sort of criteria there. And I think I pinpointed like three main criteria that that they kind of have to hit in order for one to be like one of my favorites. And so the first one was design. I think obviously design is pretty important. It doesn't really matter what kind of design, like cool, cute, I don't care. But as long as it has a design that I enjoy, then that's obviously like one big factor. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty obvious one, but and then experience. This is probably the biggest one right here. Experience is like playing with it in the game. Like what experience have I had with it? And that's how I figured out that Weasel was actually my number one favorite, because it wasn't a Pokemon I normally would have thought too much about until like more recently, because when I played BDSP, I used Buizel in that game, and so it made me think about Buizel a little bit more. I've loved it ever since then. I think I just now started to realize it was my favorite, but it definitely, playing with it definitely like made me think about it a lot more and realize that it's well, at least one of my favorites. And then lore is another one. If it has some sort of like cool backstory to it, then like that's gonna be a big thing that's gonna make me like it a little bit more. A good example of this is like Xatu. It wasn't probably a Pokemon I normally would have thought as one of my favorites, but I think it's interesting reading its Pokédex entries, because it talks about how it how it can like look into the future, and how it's like it stands still because it's like scared of the future. And I think that's such a fascinating concept that is displayed in a children's game. But I think it's very funny because it's just something that I wouldn't really expect, and it's kind of interesting. Well, all right. Thanks for anybody's watching, and I'm going to become a consistent content creator in 2025.